December 6, 2023, Diddy was accused of R-wording a 17-year-old girl. Now, this would have happened back in 2003 when he was 34 years old. They claim that Diddy and two other men, including Bad Boy executive Harv, who I guess was working closely to Diddy, preyed on a vulnerable high school teenager. They claim the men allegedly engaged in a trafficking scheme that involved plying Jane Doe with alcohol and transporting her by private jet to New York City, where she was gang R-worded. Ugh. This stuff gets dark. It's a 14-page complaint where they don't list the woman's name, but she was in the 11th grade when she met one of these men who worked for Bad Boy Records. The 17-year-old claims that she was convinced to fly on a private jet to New Jersey, after which they would be driven to Diddy's house in New York. As the night went on, the 17-year-old became drunk to the point where she could not possibly have consented to getting intimate with anyone, much less someone twice her age. After the suit was filed, Diddy released a statement saying, "Let me be absolutely clear, I did not do any of those awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Granted, this was before the Cassie video was released.
The woman claims the president of Combs Bad Boy Records picked her up when she was just 17 years old and still in high school. This was back in Michigan in 2003. She was flown in a private jet to New York and met with Combs during a recording session. The woman claims that Combs and others got her drunk and then took advantage of her before putting her on a plane back to Detroit.
Now, Diddy is a gross man, and he knows exactly who to hire to try to get this to go away. On February 15th, 2024, Diddy hires Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer for the 2003 R-word and trafficking case. Diddy hired Bobby Sternheim to act as his legal counsel in this lawsuit. Bobby is famous for defending Ghislaine Maxwell during her trafficking child and for helping out one of Osama bin Laden's aides. So she's definitely not someone I would want representing me, because she tends to represent the bad guy. It's almost like you're admitting guilt by hiring someone like this. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years, so she didn't do that great of a job, unless Diddy realizes his crimes are so bad that he would rather take 20 years than maybe the death sentence, which I don't think. Do they even do that anymore? Not, at least not in like California or New York, probably like maybe in the Midwest.
I'm not sure if this is a good choice or not, because we see where, you know, it landed Ghislaine, right? Let's say Ghislaine. She landed her 20 years in prison. Maybe this is just a strategy to minimize his sentence, or, you know, what could possibly happen to him. But in my opinion, Claudia, will it really matter? Because in public opinion, I think Diddy, people pretty much have made up their mind about Diddy.
Several of these lawsuits include women who are Jane Doe, so we don't actually know their name. And I don't know if this woman was doing it for protection. Probably she was, but the judge rules that she cannot remain anonymous. A federal judge ruled that this woman has to reveal her identity, which I think is also a move of probably Diddy's lawyers trying to put pressure on this woman and to scare her by revealing her to the world. The judge acknowledged that disclosing the accuser's identity could have a significant impact on her due to the graphic and disturbing allegations in this case, but said the woman had failed to prove that she could proceed anonymously. The woman's attorney included photos of the alleged victim's encounter with Diddy, which she claims support the allegations. In the photos, you could see that she is sitting on Diddy's lap, though the individual's face is blurred. So at least this shows that she has been in the presence of Diddy. Her attorney says that in the photos, you can see that she's not only met Diddy, but she was in the studio with him and sitting on his lap. In this report, they write, unlike many victims who have come forward after decades, Jane Doe can prove that she not only met Diddy on the night of question, but was in his studio in New York City with him on that night. Remember when viewing these that she was 17 years old at the time. Reports write that Rodney Jones, a former producer and videographer for Diddy, filed a $30 million lawsuit against him. He claims that he was essayed by Diddy on numerous occasions. Rodney goes by the name Lil Rod and claims that Diddy would grope him in his genital areas and on his behind. Rodney also claims that Diddy would have these parties that included alcohol laced with drugs and that there would be underage girls at these parties. Rodney also alleges that he was forced to drink shots of tequila laced with the drugs during a listening party in July 2023 at Diddy's home. Rodney claims that he woke up at 4 a.m. the next morning naked and with a sex worker sleeping next to him. Another troubling claim from Rodney is that the underage girls were brought to Diddy's home by Steve J and his son Justin Combs. They were then offered alcohol and who knows what next. Rodney claims that there was an incident where Diddy offered him money and threatened him with violence to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Diddy. So to force this man Rodney to hook up with people and to do it in front of Diddy and to do what Diddy says, which is something that Cassie also expressed that he made her do.
Essentially states that Diddy was grooming him for a homosexual relationship beginning in or around August of 22 when he recruited him to help work on his Love album, and that he was recruiting him for a homosexual relationship for both himself and, he says, Cuba Gooding Jr., and that members of his staff aided and abetted his attempts to recruit Mr. Jones into a homosexual relationship. So that Diddy showed him a video of Stevie J anally penetrating another male in an effort to say, basically, he alleges, look, everybody in the music industry is doing this. This is normal practice. Of course, the same type of allegations of drug use, providing sex workers and underage minors with laced drinks, etc.
Now, there were several key players that were exposed in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. Diddy's adult son, Justin Combs, who Rodney also claims was present during the 2022 shooting. Well, Rodney says that Justin would solicit sex workers for the crew around Diddy and participated in the freak-off group sex events. That's so weird that Diddy is doing all of these intimate, gross, nasty things with his son. It's like, son like father, father like son. And even though Justin's lawyer, they're denying this, he has his own lawsuits against him. Now, Christina Quorum is Diddy's chief of staff, who Rodney claims would get sex workers and would also instruct other people to lace champagne, tequila, and vodka bottles. He would be putting ecstasy in this so people would think that they're drinking, but in fact, they're having like Molly mixed with alcohol, which is a scary combination. Diddy required all employees from the butler to the chief of housekeepers to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, and other drugs. So Diddy clearly has a bunch of enablers around him, which is why he's able to continue this operation. Ethiopia is a former CEO of Motown Records, and they were mentioned in this lawsuit. Rodney claims that Ethiopia visited Diddy's homes during writing sessions and social gatherings. She had an obligation to ensure that sex workers and underage girls were not present and that Diddy was not spiking the alcohol with date-rape drugs. So even though there were a lot of enablers, there were people who were also aware and trying to slow down what was happening. Lucian Grange is the CEO of Universal Music Group, and they were also implicated because Rodney says that they attended several Love album listening parties at Diddy's home where some alleged misconduct took place. Steve J is a music producer and a longtime Bad Boy Entertainment affiliate who was also a part of Diddy's problem. Rodney claims that Diddy used the access to Steve J and his knowledge of Rodney's admiration of Steve J to groom and entice Rodney. Now, Steve J said these allegations are false, but Rodney has a lot of claims he's making here, and I don't think he would just make these up. Now, Young Miami is a part of the City Girls, and she was part of a group that were paid a monthly fee to work with Diddy as sex workers and receive payments through wire transfer. Rodney also claims that Young Miami's female cousin, unnamed in the suit, SA'd him at a party in 2022. Cuba Gooding Jr. is an actor who Rodney claims also made advances towards him, and Diddy had told him to do so. Someone who goes by G, a friend of Justin Combs, Diddy's son, says that they were shot at the Chalice Studios in 2022. Rodney claims that members of Diddy's crew were instructed to lie about the location of the shooting. Now, Fahim Muhammad is Diddy's head of security, who Rodney claims had the power to make people and problems disappear. He also served as the middleman between the LAPD and Diddy after the shooting. So this guy Fahim was part of the connection to the LAPD and part of the reason why Diddy was able to escape so many charges through the years. Robin Greenhill is someone we talked about before in relation to Britney Spears, and she was the person responsible for overseeing payments to sex workers. I actually did see a bunch of police officers outside of TriStar, which is where Robin Greenhill works, and it seems like they were raiding that building for documents in relation to Diddy, which is wild because TriStar sent me like 20 cease and desist letters, so screw them, and they're going to be screwed big time for everything they've done. Britney Spears, Diddy, and more to come. Now, on March 25th, 2024, Diddy's houses were raided by Homeland Security. We saw one in Miami and one in Los Angeles, and the raid was tied to various trafficking investigations. Diddy was not arrested, and his sons were placed in handcuffs, but they were not arrested as well. A day after the raid, Diddy's lawyers put out a statement. This unprecedented ambush paired with an advanced coordinated media presence leads to a premature rush to judgment of Diddy and is nothing more more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Again, I think this is before the video footage has been leaked, so at this point, Diddy kind of felt like he could finesse his way with this narrative, kind of like that, it's a witch hunt. They're just trying to come after me. Well, no, dude, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's plenty of fire in hell. Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.